Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, Brat, number one in here. Good evening, PG. Much love. God bless. Summer Moon, Utah Wells. To everyone in chat, prayers. Miss Norway, prayers. Absolutely, sweet Norway. We miss her. Oh, that is so sweet. Welcome in, everyone. Please hit the thumbs up for Summer's channel. Let's keep her name and face out here on these streets. Thank you. Amen. Brat, you are number one tonight, girl. God bless. God bless. ABM, there you are. All right. Hello, PG Mons in chat. Hello to you. Number two in here tonight. You're number two. And let's see. Our bucket list has holes. Number three. Hello and welcome, PG Mod Summers Army. Amen. God bless. Number three, girl. And number four is Country Girl Ann. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. God bless. Whoa, Ronald almost made number four tonight. Number five, Ronald. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. Good to see you in here. God bless. Let me see. Hey, Jody, how you doing tonight? Says hi, everyone. Hello to you. I'm moving down through here, you guys. Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We love you, Summer Moon. Amen. We sure do. We sure do. Hey, Ruby Rainmaker, good to see you. Hello, PG. Hello to you, sweetie. And good evening, everyone. Seeking Truth, how you doing? Good to see you in here. God bless. Leslie, how you doing, sweetie? I'm moving. My three girls, good to see you. Riding solo, good to see you. Brown Eyes Blue. Bloomfield, how you doing? Good to see everybody. Number 10. She's the number 10. Linda, how you doing tonight, hon? Good to see you. They're short. How you doing, sweetie? Let me see. Oh, there's our Suzanne. There's our Suzanne. Good to see you, Shelly. All right. PG's to the bottom. We are at the bottom, you guys. God bless. I didn't think we was going to get there tonight. Good to see everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about Lora, right? We have talked about Jody Sue, Candace, Grandis, right? We're gonna be talking about Lora tonight. What part does Lora play in all of this, right? What part does she play in all of Summer's case, Ben Hill Road? How good did she know Don and Candace? How good did she know Jody Sue and Andy? What was her part in everything, right? What was her part in everything? And it sounds like she knew a lot. She had to know Andy and Jody Sue because that's Fred's cousin, right? She had to know that. You can't be with a guy as long as she was and not know his family, especially when they're living on the same road, right? And I heard that was quite a busy holler. From we're starting to learn. We're starting to learn. There was a lot of people in and a lot of people out of that holler, right? And we're starting to learn that Donald, Candace, Grandis, Jody Sue, Andy's, Brad Hills, and Laura's, we're starting to realize that all these people were like one, right? They're like one person running around. And what I'm saying is they all had the same evil agendas, right? Let's do something that ain't, let's do everything that's against the law, nothing that is, lawful, right? That's what it seems like. Right? I hate to say it, but I have to agree, Leslie. I have to agree on that one. I can't. I cannot turn away from that anymore. One time, one time, I would have timed people out for saying things like that, but you know, I've had to come to face the truth like everyone else, right? That there was just some really sinister things going on, and sometimes you got to face it. Sometimes, as hard as it is, you got no, no matter how much you don't want it, you got to face the fact that there's too much, too much lead into too much information leading to the fact that that's what was going on. I mean, you have to look at the evidence, right? You got to look at the evidence. I wish the law would look at this evidence, right? But there's just too much evidence showing that there was some really sinister things going on, up there with children, you know. And a lot of times the law just, I don't know what it is, but I, I don't know. I don't know. It's like the law today don't want to prosecute this kind of stuff. They don't want to bring awareness to it, it seems like. Right? Which is very odd to me. It's very odd to me when, you know, they're all for, they're all for bringing, you know, um illegal substance charges against people. They're all for, if you're just, if you got one goody good fatty in your pocket, they're all for, pulling you into court and prosecuting you up for it. They're you drop a piece of paper on the sidewalk, right? Or throw something out your window, a piece of garbage, right? You throw your McDonald wrapper out the window, whoop whoop, pull you over, give you a ticket. You can show up in court if you want to. Probably going to have to, um, you know. But they don't seem to want to prosecute or set sights on sinister things, going on with children. They just kind of try to turn a blind eye to this pedo stuff, right? To all this pedo stuff. And I don't know why. I have no idea. It's like, it's taboo or something, right? Why is that? I mean, why do they not want to set focus on this? Is there too much money making in it? Is there too much, people in high places with lots of money, like, P. Diddy's doing it? I don't know. I don't understand. I have no idea. I just know that, these people don't seem to get brought to the light and prosecuted the hell out of when there's so much information that it was going on. I don't know. I I don't know. I have, I'm not inside. I'm not inside, um I'm not on the inside of all of that. I mean, you know, I guess I don't want to be. I don't want to be. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. You get on the inside of that kind of stuff, and you know, and you're and you're against it. You could be in a whole lot of trouble. What I'm saying is, they like to shut people up, right? They like to shut people up. Blessings, PG, Summer's Army. Amen. Hey, girl, Gary, I appreciate that. God bless. Oh, wow, Shelly, I appreciate it. Our children matter. Summer mattered. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And she does. She did and she does. Absolutely. Every child born into this world matters. People can say, well, it's not really none of our business, about this little girl and this and that, but it is our business. If it wasn't our business, the news stations wouldn't bring it out on the news, would they? If it's not your business, they wouldn't bring it out and publicize it. I mean, if there's a big sale, if there's a big sale at the Walmart store, they advertise it. It's your business, right? They want you to make it your business because they want you to come and buy the stuff. Anytime they're advertising something, they're making it our business, right? When a child goes missing, and we get big Amber Alerts to start opening our eyes and seeing if we can see the car with the license plate or the color car, the make of the car, maybe, what the child looked like somewhere in a restaurant, or, they want us all to open our eyes and look around and see if we see, hear, or know anything and make that call, right? To make that call. They made it our business. They made it our business. It's also our business because it's our tax dollars. It's our tax dollars that is out there finding this child. Everything the law does, we're paying for it. It's our business. A lot of people might, act like it's not, but it absolutely is. Absolutely is. Hey, Shelly, I really do appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. God bless. But yeah, it's absolutely, our business. Every child is our business. If a child is being abused, it is our business. See something, say something, right? If we see it, say it. Don't turn a blind eye. Do not turn a blind eye away from child abuse. You see child abuse, you report it. It might not do no good. It might not do no good because a lot of people don't want to do their jobs. But you know what? You just keep at it. You keep at it until it gets better. Keep an eye. If you see child abuse, you report it. Keep an eye. See if it's going to get better. If it don't, report it again and again. Right? Keep reporting it till something is done to help the child out of that. A lot of times, the sad thing is a lot of times they'll remove a child that's in a better home than they put them in, right? They will remove a child from a better family environment than they go put them in. They go put them in some weird foster care place and they get really abused, sometimes unalived in these foster care places too, right? Those foster care places don't seem to be so safe as well. I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, don't take somebody out of the pot to put them in the frying pan, right? You just don't do that. That's insane. And I think that those foster care places, if there's children in a foster care, I think that foster care should, have random knocks on the door for child services to be able to come through. I mean, if you're working a job, you get randomly checked for illegal substances, right? They don't say, oh, next month or next year we're going to come by. They don't call you up and tell you, hey, next week you're going to be, tested for illegal stuff. No, they just come up and, hey, you need to go do this, right? And if you don't come out clean, your job's gone. And you're like, whoa, okay, right? Well, I just went to a wedding, right? I just went to a wedding, so I hope, last call for alcohol don't count. But, got it. It is what it is. But I think that should be done to these people, these foster parents. I think they should go and say, hey, boom, you need to go do this. You take us, you go take a piss test, right? Make sure you ain't on nothing. Just like we do it to the parents, we got to do it to you. We're going to knock on your door, in the middle of the night. You got to open it. You got to let us in. You got to let us see this place. We want to make sure that everything's going well. And if you ain't willing to do that, then you can't be a foster parent, right? You cannot foster children, and we are going to be coming a couple times a week. I think every foster home should have to be visited by a caseworker at least once a week. At least once a week. Not every 30 days. I think that it should be once a week. And it should be on the caseworker's time, not the foster parents. Not the foster parents. And it should be, surprise visits. Right? It should be surprise visits, not scheduled so they can clean everything up and be ready. It should be surprise. Here I am. Let me in. And I think we would have a lot less foster parents if they did that. Don't you? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree that we wouldn't have so many foster parents anymore if they wasn't able to clean it up before anybody got there. Absolutely. As I'm going to tell you, nobody wants to deal with somebody beating on the door, spontaneously coming in and going all over the house, right? And unless you have absolutely nothing to hide. If you have absolutely nothing to hide and and you really love these kids and you really want to take them in and help them and so forth, then yeah, you ain't going to care, right? If you ain't got nothing to hide and you really are doing it for the right reason because, you feel it's your calling to be good to these children, then you won't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with it, right? I wouldn't have a problem. If I was taking in foster children, I wouldn't have a problem with the caseworker knocking on the door. Hell, she can knock at 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning. I don't care. Come in. Look around. Kiss the kids. Kiss the kids goodnight before you leave. Right? See ya. Check the refrigerator. Check the pantry. Hell, for all I care, check every drawer in the freaking house, right? Ransack the place, but be nice about it. Put it all back together when you're done. I wouldn't care. Don't bother me. I ain't got nothing to hide. And I love kids. I would be really good. I'd be a great foster parent. I don't take in foster kids because I've got a ton of kids myself right now, right? I got enough on my plate. So I don't, and where am I going to put them? Where am I going to put the foster kids? You know, but maybe as my kids get older and they move out, maybe get married up and get a home and moving out, I might consider taking in foster children. Absolutely. You know, and I think they would love it. I think they would love, being part of my family. I think they would really like that. My kids are really nice, you know. I'm really nice, very patient, kind, caring. And them kids would have everything, right? They'd have everything. And I wouldn't keep the stuff back either. If those kids got vouchers and stuff for clothing and shoes and toys, when they leave, when they left my home, which that's the hardest part, right? That's the hardest part, man, to see these kids go back into an abusive situation. You know, that's the hard part, is if the parents get them back, you know what they're going back to. You pray that they're not, but they could be. That's the hard part. But, whether they're placed back with their parents or they're placed with other family members, someone else, grandma or someone else, every single thing in their room is theirs. And it would be packed up and it would be going with them. Now, I know a lot of foster people who take those vouchers and they do not spend them on the child. They spend them buying their grandchildren size clothes, their nieces and nephews stuff, instead of the foster child. They also keep the clothing and everything that's supposed to went with the foster child. They keep it and don't let them take it with them. They don't let them take the toys, the clothes, and and other things. And I think that is bullshit. I think it's bullshit. Just saying. And every caseworker knows what I'm talking about. I don't know if any of you are caseworkers or not, but caseworkers know what I'm talking about. Anybody that's ever dealt with Child Protective Services knows what I'm talking about, right? They know what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you, they're, caseworkers get fed up. Caseworkers get fed up with, these foster care places. But you can't get out of line with them. You're not allowed to get out of line with the foster parents. You've got a set of rules. Child Protective Services even tries to tell the caseworkers how they need to be raising their kids, right? They want to stick their nose in your business when you're working for Child Protective Services. And that's true too. I mean, there's probably a lot of people in here know what I'm talking about. They're not a fun agency to work for. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me. They're not a fun agency to work for. When you work for Child Protective Services, you see a lot of shady shit going on. A lot. Just saying. And a lot of caseworkers quit. A lot of caseworkers I just can't handle this shit. I can't handle watching these foster parents screw over these kids, right? Keeping all their stuff instead of sending it with them. I can't handle knowing that a lot of these foster homes are unfit to have children in, but yet they push you to still take children there. Caseworkers, man, it's a tough job. It's a tough job. It's tough when you see kids that do need to be removed, right? They really do need to be taken and removed. But, your supervisor advises you against doing it for whatever reasons, right? And a lot of times you think that reason is nobody else would really want all of that problem. It'd be hard to place them, and then you'd have to keep moving them, right? Because they're not, they're really messed up kids from the abuse they went through. There's a lot to it. It's hard. It's hard. And not to mention, you're transporting in your own vehicle, right? It's not like it's a company car that you're driving and transporting these family. You're using your own car to go to people's homes. You're using your own vehicle. You're putting children in your vehicle, right? To transport them here or transport them there. These kids have scabies, they got lice, they got all kinds of things. They're, so you got to constantly be cleaning your car down with disinfects and all kinds of stuff. It's not an easy job, right? It's hard. It's hard. And that's why CPS really suck. They really suck because, for one, nobody really wants to work that job. A lot of people quit, right? A lot of people quit. It's a hard job. They have a hard time keeping a staff anyway. They get low on staff just like they get low on, foster places to place these kids at. It's overwhelming, to say the least. It's overwhelming. And I think that's why the Wells kids, yeah, it's very hard and dedicated work. It sure is. It sure is. Our bucket list has holes, and there is, and you put up with a lot. You put up with a lot of the, you put up with a lot of the bullshit too, right? Where the neighbor's pissed at another neighbor, or family members pissed at another family member, so they're using Child Protective Services as a, weapon against someone else. And, and you're basically, being ran around the mulberry bush for nothing, right? But you have to go do it. You have to do it. And, you wish these people would not use something so important to other children that truly are being abused and do need you to be there, right? You think these people would grow a brain, but there's evil people. They don't care if they waste your time, and they don't care if they're keeping another child that truly needed you to be there from having you, right? From having you, or having you there earlier. You could have been there instead of where you was, helping someone that needed it. And sometimes, these people, what they don't understand is sometimes when you're calling Child Protective Services on your family and stuff, just as, an ugly thing to do, some get even type bullshit. Well, what you don't understand is another child that really needed that caseworker to be there might have got put on the back burner, right? They might have got put on the back burner in order to, accommodate that particular call in. And since the caseworker didn't get to the other child soon enough, well, the other child gets severely injured or even, unalived before the caseworker could show up, because of stupidity of other people wanting to use child protective services as, some dumb get even stuff. You don't do that. You don't do that. It's wrong. And you're costing children, you ain't hurting a person you called them on. You're not hurting your family member. You're not hurting your neighbor. Your neighbor don't give a damn. And if Child Protective Services show up, your family don't care if Child Protective Services shows up. They welcome them into their home, show them their kids, the food and all the stuff. And, what you wasted. And it even gave them somebody to talk to. What you did is you sent a friend to your neighbor's door. You sent a friend to your family's door. And the caseworker just left with a bad taste in their mouth, not about the person they just visited, but the person who called in. They're like, what a piece of crap. Who could do this? Who could do this? This is BS. There's children out here needing help, and somebody's prank yelling and having, to cause somebody else some problems. It's bullshit. You didn't make no friends making that call. You didn't make no friends. The caseworker, but the person they showed up at, they did. And a lot of times, when you call, you help the person. Because when the caseworker shows up, they listen to the person. If the person, has been struggling or, or working a lot of hours to make ends meet, well, the caseworker, gives them a list of places that they can go and get a whole lot of help. And a lot of times the caseworker also comes back and gives them vouchers and stuff, right? Gives them vouchers for the grocery store, vouchers for clothes and stuff for their kids. Even gives them places to go get, decent, real good, nice, it might be used, it could be new furniture. So you're helping that person, but you thought you were hurting them. It was crazy. But you still took, what you did is you took the caseworker away from somewhere else that they may have really needed to be for a child that, possibly it was too late for. And that's, and that's evil. And you may not know that now, but you will when you meet God, when you get to heaven, right? On Judgment Day, and you say, hey, Lord, how come I'm not getting in heaven? Why, do you remember calling all this children's services on people? Well, do you see these little children behind me? Well, they're still children because the caseworker couldn't get there because they was too busy, getting other places that they wasn't needed because of you. Basically, this is the result of your phone calls. And I should let you in heaven? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. And I wouldn't want to hear the Lord tell me that. I would not want the Lord to tell me that. I have not ever one time in my life called Child Protective Services on anyone just to get even, or just as some payback, or to cause them problems because I just don't like them. Not one time have I ever did it. Not once. But I know a lot of bitches that did call for no reasons. Right? I knew a lot that did. Evil people. Evil people do that. Not righteous people. Problem with Summer Moon Utah Wells is no one was really calling. No one was really reporting. And that's why Candace was getting away with not being home or hiding when they came. She was getting away with all this stuff because, nobody was persistent. And with children that really need help, like Summer and her brothers, people ain't persistent. They're not ringing the phone off over kids like that. I don't know why, but they're not. And that makes Child Protective Services not take the claim serious enough. They're not taking everything serious enough. I think those kids should have been removed. Personally, myself, I think there should be a database. And I think in that database, every hospital should have access to that database. And if anyone has had children in any state in America, any state across America, and they have, abused those children, hurt those children, and had those children removed from them in the past, I think that as soon as a baby's born, it should be taken away so that it won't be, abused like that. The thing about abusers, they're kind of like pedos. People like Candace, for instance, what she did to those children in Wisconsin, what she did to that child over in Arkansas. Do you see the pattern? You can't help those people. They don't change. Child abusers are child abusers. They will continue to abuse every child. And their children should be taken immediately. Once they have a record of abusing a child to the point that the child can't even live a normal life anymore, they should not be allowed to, keep any other children in the future that, comes out of their incubator, right? Those children should immediately be put up for adoption. Immediately. They should be taken and put up for adoption. That's, that's what I think. That's my, opinion on this. I don't think Dawn and Candace Wells should have ever been allowed to keep any of those 4 children on Ben Hill Road due to the fact of their prior history of abuse with children. Just saying. And we really need to get these laws changed. We need to fight. We love these kids, right? We love every child in this world. And we fight for all of these children, right? We fight for them to not be neglected, abused. We fight for them to not, be disappearing or unlived. That's what we're out here for. We're out here to bring awareness to all of this abuse that's going on in our world today. All of these little children being, victimized by evil adults. That's what we're doing here. Well, we need to fight. We need to fight to get the laws changed. We need to fight to get something put in place to where You know, if two people like Don and Candace have abused children in the past, and those to the point those children had to be completely took away from them, then they should not be allowed to keep any children in the future, because we don't want children being abused. We don't want it. They know what they did, and they should know when the court system first took the kids out of Wisconsin, Candace should have had a stiff warning, a very stiff warning, that if she has any other children, and any kind of abuse upon those children, she would not in the future ever be allowed to have any more. She would not be allowed to keep any more of her children after that. So in Arkansas, when that child ended up being like it was, well, that should have been her last straw. At that point, they should have let her know, you were warned that if you had any more children abused in any way, you will not get to keep it. Any other children from this day on. And that should have been put into a database. And when, her oldest boy was born, Josie, he should have been took. When the other boy was born, took. The other one took. Summer took at birth, and adopted out immediately to families who will love them, will take care of them, will cherish them, and will give them a good life. Right? And you know what? We wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be here right now talking about a missing 5-year-old little girl, right? That her parents are number one suspects of. We wouldn't be here right now talking about 2 little boys who begged to see the judge so they could tell the judge to please don't ever send them back to that hellhole they came from, right? Please, Your Honor, don't send us back. We don't want to go. Please. Man, when you got children wanting to go to court and tell the judge how much they don't want to go back somewhere, when you got little children scared to death to go home and don't want to go home, it had to be some horrific shit going on, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you think it had to be some horrific shit going on. Because myself personally, I have not ever seen a child not want to go home. I mean, you have to tear these kids out of their parents' arms, right? I mean, no matter how much these kids been going through, you got to tear them out of they ain't no kid just comes out and gets in, right? They're crying and wanting to stay. And I mean, these kids, they was ready to hop in and leave Ben Hill. And they was begging not to ever go back, right? They're like, please, whatever you do, don't send us back there. We don't want $1 pizza a fucking day, right? We can't live on that. We can't live on $1 pizza a day. We can't live with only 1 or 2 glasses of water to drink. We don't get no milk because daddy takes it all. We don't get no food because mommy and daddy's substance abuse sucks it all up. What we are getting is mommy and daddy, we're getting mommy's fists slugged at us all the time, right? We try to go tell her something important and we get beat up for it instead of listened to, right? According to True, that's what True said. She said the boy came to tell Candace something important, And Candace slugged him up, right? Said Candace was all, shit faced. She's all shit faced up, done sucked up her fucking liquor, and attacked that little boy, according to True, right? And why did she do that? Why did she do that? Because she's a piece of shit mom that bottle means more to her. That bottle means more to her than her children. Because if that bottle didn't mean more to her than her kids, she'd dump that bottle and start taking care of her children, right? But she didn't. And therefore, she had no business having no kids. I personally believe if you're an alcoholic, they should take your children. If you are addicted to any type of illegal drug, that you feel you need to have recreational relationships with every single day, they should take your kids, right? There's nothing wrong with drinking a little. There's nothing wrong with going out to dinner and having a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with going to a wedding and having something to drink. There's nothing wrong, if there's a big game on the weekend and you want to, have a drink or two. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get crap faced every single day, 7 days a week, to the point that you pass out and don't know where the hell you are till the next day, you should not have any children. Just saying. That's my opinion. You can't take care of kids like that. And children ain't supposed to be taking care of you. No child should be put through having to take care of the parent. They just shouldn't do it. I mean, not like that. Not like that. No child should have to be scared all the time because his mother ain't in her right mind or the dad ain't in his right mind. No child should have to live like that. It's bad enough. It's bad enough when parents get too old to take care of themselves, the children have to step in and help. It's bad enough that they have to help when you're too old to be doing it all on your own. But they should not have to be doing it when you're able to do it yourself and take care of them. You're supposed to take care of the children. They're not supposed to be taking care of you. Not when they're little. And those Wells kids, man, I'm going to tell you, I am sure that they appreciate everything they get. I'm sure they appreciate every single thing they get on the face of this earth. Why? Because they didn't ever get nothing. I tell you one thing about kids that don't ever get anything. They have a great appreciation for everything, even a kind word. Man, it sticks with them forever. Because they don't got that. They don't got it. They love people who are nice to them because at home they're not getting no niceness. They love people that give them anything because at home they're getting nothing. And they're grateful. They're grateful for showing, they're grateful for those people showing them that there is a different world than the one they live in. And it makes them want to be, to be part of that world as soon as they're big enough to get away from the evilness that they got to endure every day. On justice for you, I hope everything goes well. I hope God's willing, hon. I really do. I hope God's willing, and we're going to keep your husband in our prayers. We really will. He's having surgery. Um, we're going to keep him in our prayers that all goes well, and we're going to pray that God's willing to put you in Tennessee, um, to help in any way you can for summer. We're going to pray that that happens. And I'll tell you something. Um, don't go there with high expectations, because those people ain't real friendly. They're not real friendly folks. And matter of fact, when you talk about Summer's case, there's a lot of folks with a real chip on their shoulder there about this case. Um, I mean, they just straight tell you that's an open and shut case. They know who did it. They don't know why law enforcement's doing nothing. I mean, it's a real sore topic. It's a sore topic, so be prepared for that if you go. I'm just forewarning you, right? When you get there, what you're going to, because I know what it's like to think that, you're going to pop up in that area and you're going to, meet up with these people that's willing to be kind and talk, and it ain't nothing like that. It is not nothing like that at all. These people are these people are something different, to say the least. And you know, I'm not saying that, some of them ain't nice. There is some that are nice, but that 1%, that 1% just is not enough to make you go back where you came from, feeling very discouraged. You will feel discouraged. It's an experience that I don't even know if a human could put it in words. It's one of them experiences that you have to go through to understand what I'm saying. You'll come back telling me I was right. That's what you'll come back telling me. This PG, you were right. And it's just an airy experience, to say the least. It's a roller coaster of emotions. And, so prepare yourself. I wish somebody would have told me, prepare yourself. But I'm going to tell you. And, don't make the trip too soon. Give your husband give him time to get, really stabilized before you do this. Make sure, he's up to it, because it is a challenge. That's what I'm saying. But we will keep him in our prayers. Absolutely. We will keep him in our prayers. And I hope the best. I hope the best, for you guys. If you do make that trip, please just, hear what I'm saying. Because I got a feeling you're going to have a lot of tears running down your face. You'll have tears. You'll be crying at the horse pond, and you won't know why. You won't even know why. It's just something comes upon you and you don't know why. And Ben Hill Road, you'll want to roll up your windows and lock your doors. Because that's just the feeling you get. It's airy. You get it. It's just a feeling. You don't feel safe. You just don't feel safe when you go in there, till the point you come out. And even when you come back out, out of Ben Hill Road, and you actually get back on, you know, Beach Creek and hauling their self away from there. You're moving away from it. You, I hate to say it, but it's like when you come back out and you're going down the road, you still feel like you're holding your breath. You still feel like you're holding your breath for a while. You really do. And it's not until, it's not until you get way on down the road and talk to yourself, it's not until you get way on down the road and realize that, you're out of there. You don't have to think about it, that you're actually able to breathe. You're actually able to breathe again. It's just a really fucked up feeling. And when you're talking to these people, they're not, like I said, they're not really friendly. And they, it's more like they're going to bite at you than talk to you. And, you know, and they just, and you can hear the sourness in their voices. You can just, how fed up they are, that more wasn't done, how fed up they are that, you know, everybody knows, you know, but nothing was done about it. Um, it's not a picnic. That's that's for sure. That's for sure. And some of them get real nasty with you. Some of them get real nasty with you. I mean, you got to talk them down. You know, you got to be able to talk them down, right? Like they there's good in everybody. There's good in everybody, baby, and some of them you have to dig deep to find that good, right? To get them to, you know, it really it's hope you answer the calls when we call Mama PG. You're gonna call me. Just don't call me crying. I can't handle that. I'll be crying with you because I know what you're going through. You know, I know what you're going through. Don't call me crying. Summer's case. You think Summer's case touches your heart from where you're sitting right now? Go into Tennessee. Go. Go into Tennessee. The closer you get, to the places she was, I'm going to tell you something. The harder it is. It gets real hard. I mean, when you get to the places where this little girl was and running and stuff, it gets harder because you can't understand why she's not still running there. You can't understand why her laughter ain't still in the air. You can't understand. You want it to be, and you can't understand why it isn't. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, it's not right. It's not right. But you know, I'll be praying for you, girl. I'll be praying for you that everything goes well. Absolutely. And and I tell you, you got people praying for you. It might go well for you. I always believe that. I always believe, that people's praying for you. It'll all go well. You know, I always go by the Bible says, consult me in all things and it'll go well with you. I try to consult God in all things, right? I try to consult him. Lord, I'm going here or there today. If you could, please let it go all well. And I'll tell you, it does. It's when I forget. It's when I forget to tell God what I'm doing. Then it can go all bad. Right? It can go all bad. Trust me, I know. But anyway, we're going to talk about Lora. We're going to talk about Lora because I've been here talking about everything else, right? I went in left field tonight and I'm so sorry.
Out and shot in the wall.
So you lost your kids because Fred
Yes.
shot the gun through the wall.
Because Fred's sister come in and had her pistol out and they was arguing and Fred shot through the wall so couldn't scare her away.
Oh my Lord. Fred's sister came in and she had the thing out and no, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. I mean, how can Fred, how could Fred put it through the wall? How could Fred put it through the wall if the sister's holding it? No, that ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. Not for me. I know better. Right. His sister came in and Fred was the one holding something and fired it off, right? And that's how it went. And Child Protective Services came in on it. And that's when you lost your kids?
Actually, the day after I lost my kids.
How old was they? Shelly says, how can God not let us find Summer? Shelly, I'm going to tell you, hun, I don't question God. I don't question God. See, God doesn't do what's best, for us. I mean, what's best for us is to get closure in this case. What's best for Summer's brothers to get closure in this case? What's best for everybody, including Summer, is to be, brought home, if she's not with us, which I don't think she is, laid to rest and everyone get closure. I fully agree with you. That's all for us. That's all for us. But God don't do what's best for us. God's got something in mind. He controls all things. And God's got different plan. He's got a different plan. Right? Right now, he's got a different agenda. That's not his agenda. If that was his agenda, it would be being done. That's not his agenda. And I know that because it's not being done. I don't know what God's agenda is, and I'm not going to question it because I know that God's way is the right way and my way isn't. I have to be doing God's will in order to be doing what's righteous. Because when I do my will, it's not righteous. Trust me. When I listen to God, my life goes the right way. It's when I'm not listening to God that all hell breaks loose. So, I don't know. I don't know why, what purpose God has for not letting Summer be found. I don't know what purpose he has for not letting Michael Vaughn be found. I don't know what purpose he has for not letting Sebastian Rogers be found. you know, but he let, I mean, what was the chances? What's the chances of Quentin Simon being found in that big, giant, freaking, you know, garbage dump? What was the odds of this baby ever being found in there? But I'm going to tell you, slim to none. That's the odds, slim to none. But God let that baby be found, didn't he? He let Quentin be found out there. And he let justice be served. Right? I mean, he let Elijah Vu, another missing child, he let Elijah Vu be found. He's letting justice be served. You know, God, God does what, what's best for someone, I don't know who he's doing what's best for right now. Right? I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, there could be one of these suspects who really could be saved. Right? Who really ain't as bad as they believe their self is. And one of these suspects, could have, God could be giving them an opportunity. He could be working with them and trying to give them an opportunity to tell what they know. So Summer can be found, brought home, and justice served. Maybe he's doing what's best for them. I don't know. I don't have the answers, hon. I wish I did. But I do have faith in my God, and I know when he wants Summer found, she will be. I have no idea why he hasn't let her be found yet. Maybe he hasn't let her be found yet because she's brought so many people together who are actually praying and turning their lives around where they wasn't before. And maybe they are finally dropping to their knees, putting their hands together and sending up some prayers that they haven't done in a long time. And maybe that's why I ain't let her be found, because there's more people that he's seeking to do that. Right? I don't know. I have no idea. But I truly believe at some point he is going to let her be found. I ain't going to give up. I'm not going to give up no hope. Absolutely not. I'm going to hang on to it because I believe it's worth hanging on to. And I believe that, at some point she will be found. A lot of people say, why did God let this happen? Or why did he let that happen? God don't let, bad things happen. Bad things happen because the choices humans make, right? Bad things happen because the bad choices people make, driving too fast or driving too slow, and causes, accidents. God didn't cause that. People did. Right? It's our choices that mess everything up on this earth. Summer's missing because of people's bad choices. Summer would still be here if it wasn't for a lot of bad choices, right? It's just, it just is. This baby was screaming for help. There was law enforcement, an operator from law enforcement on the line, hearing her scream. Candace's own mouth told law enforcement that he's attacking the little girl, Summer. But when they get there, They don't bring child protective services with them to take Summer away, talk with her, take her to the hospital for emergency room for a well health care check. They don't do nothing for Summer. And she's hollering, help me, but nobody did. So God, I believe God stepped in, God helped her. I believe God took her home. These people were so evil. God took her home. And by taking her home, he didn't just help Summer, but he helped her brothers as well. You know, if it wasn't for Summer, her brothers wouldn't have ever got out of the evilness they were in. All of these people out here wouldn't be bonded together as one, praying for these kids, praying for one another. There's a whole lot of good coming out of what happened. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why she ain't been found yet. I don't know. You know, but I think that whatever the reason is, you know, it's God's reasoning, and I'm not going to question it, because I'm going to tell you what. I'm trying to get into heaven. I'm trying to get in there. And I don't think God's going to like anybody coming in there that just don't trust in him. You got to trust in him. You got to say, "Hey, God, I don't know the reasoning, but I know whatever it is right. And I trust in you. I love you and I trust in you, and I'm not going to question you because I'm too darn afraid to do that." Right? Man, I humble myself to the ground. You ain't going to get me questioning God. I ain't going to do it. Because I'm going to tell you, this life don't mean anything. Everybody's so afraid to die. Right? Everybody's afraid to die. Well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are so afraid of dying, they're not even living. Right? They're not even living. They're too scared to die and they ain't even living. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of not living. It ain't dying, it's living. I'm afraid of not getting everything I can out of this life. You only have one. And if you're always worrying about dying, then you're not living. You got to live this life and not even care or worry about dying. You're gonna die regardless. When your number's called, you're gone. You've got a certain amount of time, and God meant for you to live it, not sit around and worry about it. And in this life, you do have to die. But Jesus made you a promise, right? The Bible tells you if you are saved through Jesus Christ, no one comes to the Father except by me, said Jesus. Now, Jesus told you that that you will pass. You will pass from this life to a new life, everlasting life. You'll live forever if you're righteous. If you trust in God, you love God, you want to be with God for eternity, you want to, obey his 10 commandments and do his will and be kind, caring, and loving and help people whenever you can, you got an opportunity, then you get to live forever through his son, Jesus Christ, who died on that cross so you could have everlasting life through him. He's the one that, shed his blood, paid the price for all of our sins. All you got to do is ask. Hey, John 3:16. All you have to do is ask. That's it. You just ask. And through him, through Jesus, you are, you are saved, and you need to get baptized. Your sins washed away, and your eyes open to eternity. That's what you get. You get your eyes open to eternity, and you get to live forever. This life don't mean nothing. This life don't mean nothing. You know, I'm going to tell you something. You ain't rich until you got God and Jesus Christ. You ain't rich. Money don't make you rich. You ain't got God and Jesus, you ain't got shit. Let me tell you that right now. You ain't got nothing. You might think you got something, but you ain't got nothing. Your money ain't gonna buy you into heaven. Your money ain't gonna get you no special place in heaven. Heck no. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how big your house is, how new your car is. I don't care what you wrap wrap your dust, your body of dust in. It doesn't matter to me, because I know the truth. It does not matter, because I know the Bible is all truth. And I know the rich man ended up in hell wanting a drop of water. And the poor man, he ended up in heaven. All right? The poor man ended up in heaven. So if anybody is expecting PG to look up to them because they got a big house, a fancy car, or a lot of money, well, that's too fucking bad. It ain't going to happen, right? It ain't going to happen. I don't look up to people because of what they have. I look up to people because, when I look up to somebody, it's because I can see that they got a light in their eye, baby, that's burning. They got a light in their eye that's burning for the Lord. And I don't want it to be brighter than mine, right? I might get a little jealous. I see somebody else's light burning better than mine. That's when you might get me to look up to you. It might be when you get me to be a little jealous. If your lights are burning, brighter than PG's. But I don't care how much money you got, and I don't care how you're wrapping it, and I don't care anything about any of that stuff. What I do care about is, does that person have God? Do they have God and Jesus Christ in their life? I'm going to tell you who I look up to. I look up to the man of God that is willing to grab a sinner's hand and let them know that God loves them. God wants them. And before they're done talking, that sinner's on their knees and they're accepting the Lord Jesus Christ into their life, and they're ready to be baptized, and they are hooting and a hollering because they just got their eyes open and got that feeling like they never had in their life. When they, that's what I call rich. That's what I call rich, baby, is when those people come out on the other side of that water, right? When they come out on the other side and they're lit up and they're just a shouting and a hollering and praising the Lord, that's what I call rich. That man of God that walks into a hospital and he holds somebody's hand and he prays for him, and the next day they're going home. They're going home because they don't need a hospital no more. That's what I look up to. I say, Lord, God bless you. You're really working through this person. I know that man of God didn't do it. I know that what was done by God through this man. But I'm going to tell you, it's amazing to see. It's amazing to watch. And that's what excites PG. That's what excites me. That's what makes me say, whoa. Money don't mean nothing. And I'm not going to question my God. I'm not going to question why you're not finding somewhere else, why you're not. I don't know why. I've said it a million times. I don't know why. But I'm going to tell you, my fear of God is going to keep me from asking. That's all I can say. I'm going to stay humbled, and I'm going to stay knowing what I've always knew. Whatever God wants, that's okay with me. That's okay with me. I'll just keep praying. I'll just keep praying. And knowing like Jesus told me. I'll keep praying and knowing that God will answer at some point. And you got to also realize that no is an answer too. No is an answer too. I mean, we've been praying for summer and praying and praying. And she ain't been found yet. So God's saying no, it's not time. No. And that is an answer. He is answering. And that answer is okay with me. I'll keep praying. I'll keep praying. And you know why? Because I truly believe at some point the answer will be yes. If we keep praying. If we keep praying, it'll be yes. Right? So I will just keep praying. That's what I'm going to do. Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad. I have been glad many times that God does not answer my prayers. Because I have been pretty pissed off at some people. Right? I've been pretty pissed off at some people. And what I was praying for, I wouldn't have really wanted. Right? I think we've all been there. I think we've all been there. Right? All of us. I think we've all been pissed off so much at somebody that we're glad that God didn't answer those prayers. So, sometimes the unanswered prayers are a blessing. And I tell you, I've also learned that, I used to get real upset when I didn't get what I wanted, right? Boy, I had a way of being real upset. But I'm going to tell you, I learned to be patient. Patient isn't something you're just born with. It's something that you have to learn to be. It's self-taught. And I taught myself to be very patient. At once upon a time, PG wasn't patient. And I didn't like not getting what I wanted. But I'm going to tell you something. I became very patient. For a lot of different reasons, I became very patient. Mostly out of love for others. I became very patient. But I'm going to tell you what, I learned through all that patience, that when God don't give you something, it's because he's got something way better for you. When I want something now and I ain't able to get it, I ain't able to, I just look at my kids and I say, sometimes my kids will say, what are you going to do? Right? Because those are the kind of kids I got. I like to have something, I ain't getting it. They'd be like, so mom, what you going to do? I say, I ain't going to do nothing. So I didn't get it. God's got something better for me, right? I ain't going to get it. That's okay. I ain't worried about it. I just move on. And you know what? My kids see that there was something better waiting. Later I see something I would have loved a lot more. And you know what? I got it. God knew that down the road that it was going to be there. That's why I didn't get the other stuff. And now my kids say when they don't get something, well, God just didn't mean for me to have that. Got something better. Now my kids, that's how they see things, you know? And they don't worry about it. They don't worry about it because they seen God in action. They have seen God in action. I got really good kids. I wish people, I wish somebody to shared with me. I wish somebody would have shared with me what I share with you guys. That's why I share it with you. I share it with you because, I want you to understand this. I want you to, trust in God and know that, don't be upset. Don't stress kills, man. Stress kills. Getting upset is bad for your health. I'm trying to tell you, you don't get something, look up and say, God, I know you got something else waiting. I don't need it. And walk off. And I'll tell you what, you'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did because down the road, you're going to see something that you really wanted more and you're going to get it. And you're going to say, that freaking PG's right. And I didn't get all stressed out. I didn't get upset. She saved me a couple wrinkles, right? She saved me some wrinkles. That's why I share it with you. I had to get all the damn wrinkles and look like I'm 150. Learning it all the hard way, right? Wish somebody would have told me so I could still have that baby smooth skin. Right? That's what PG be wishing for. I wish I wouldn't have to hit the brick wall all the time. I'm starting to look like it. Right? Just saying, you guys.
My daughters were 13 and 14, and my little boy was a year old, and my little girl was my and Fred's little girl together was 6.
Oh, wow.
She was in kindergarten.
And you ain't seen your kids since?
I've seen my girls, but I ain't seen my little boy since he was a year old.
Oh, wow. Did your little boy go to your family or they adopt? Yeah. He's with your family too?
But they won't let me see him.
Wow. So, Fred, I really do feel sorry for Lora, that Fred made, his bullshit made her lose everything. His bullshit, and then he walks off. He gets when at the time when he's able to throw all this bullshit aside, instead of him and Laura working together, him and her working together to get back everything they've lost and him to keep his promise. I mean, when he was finally at a point that he could have kept his promise, he's all sober and everything, and he could keep his promise and working with her to get back the family he made her lose. He goes off and marries somebody else, right? He goes off and he marries somebody else. He says, fuck you. I'm out. I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I really do. I feel sorry for Laura. I do feel sorry for her. Fred wasn't willing to straighten up, and
but actually, they wouldn't let me see him while I was with Fred.
how is Fred now? I mean, what do you think Ziggy's got on her hands?
Got a handful of.
I mean,
he's not nothing like he tries to put out there. I'll just tell you that much.
do you think that Cotton had anything to do with what happened to Summer? I mean, do you think Fred's telling the truth when it comes to Summer's case?
Something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
Cotton said something to Fred, but I don't know what he said. And then Cotton ended up dead.
Yep.
She said, yep. Cotton said something to Fred. I don't know what he said. I said, so he ended up dead? She says, yep. Right? About Summer. About Summer. Oh, wow. What he said to Fred, was it about Summer's case? Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not?
Fred come in and said something that he told him something about Summer, but he didn't tell me the details. He said I didn't need to know because I didn't need to be in the middle of it.
Oh, Lord. Wow. And do you know if law enforcement...
protecting me.
Fred said he was protecting Lora. He didn't tell her about it because he said he was protecting Lora. He didn't want to tell Lora about what him and Cotton talked about concerning Summer because he was protecting Lora. What did he need to protect Lora from? It sounds more to me like Fred, whatever him and Cotton was talking over where Summer was concerned, and and that makes what Cotton's family was saying even stronger, because Cotton's family said that Cotton told a couple of them, the couple of people he trusted, to keep his secrets while he was living. And they did. But he told a couple of his family members that Fred Hill supposedly, allegedly, had Summer's, from the neck up in a box, right? From her neck up in a box. I don't know. But even Lora says these two people are corresponding together, right? That Cotton's there talking to Fred about Summer and Summer's case, and Cotton ends up on live. And law enforcement believes Fred, because they gave him a lie detector's test, and you're going to hear it out of Laura's mouth, that law enforcement believes Fred did it, right? You're going to hear it right out of her mouth. Do you know if law enforcement really gave him a lie detector's test about Cotton's, about whether he had anything to do with Cotton's death or not?
I think they did, because I think they thought that Fred done it.
Because I think they think that Fred done it. She said, I think they did because they think that Fred done it. Right? Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that, I feel sorry for Lora because I feel that Lora was, a puppet on a string for Fred. I feel she still is. She still is. I think that Laura was afraid of Fred. I think Laura felt she had no place else to go. She had no family. She had nowhere to really turn to. I think she felt kind of trapped with Fred. I think that, Fred made sure that she had just as much of an addiction as he did, so she couldn't go nowhere else. And, and would help support the addiction, their addiction. Um, so with that being said, and Fred is very controlling. I mean, I watched him control Laura. Every time I talked to Laura, Fred was blowing up her phone to the point he even threatened her. He threatened her to shut up and quit talking to PG. He really did. She told me he did. That he threatened her up. So, what I'm saying, he threatened to put her, and I got it. I got it on recording. He threatened her up, threatening to put her in jail. He threatened to put her in jail, if she kept talking to me. So Fred is not what we think he is, right? I mean, he's up there with Ziggy acting like, the role model fucking husband and all sober and Laura's the bad one. No, Fred's the bad one. Trust and believe me. Ziggy's ass got exactly what Ziggy deserves. She's got the real piece of shit. And it just is what it is. It is what it is. And he'll get worse. He'll get worse as time goes on. I don't know if Ziggy will tolerate him the way Laura did. I don't know if Ziggy will allow him to, get her as addicted to stuff as he was. I don't know. I mean, it seems like Fred knows how to make a mess out of women, right? It seems like he knows how to make a real damn mess out of women. He looks for women that he can make a mess out of, or at least thinks he can. And I think that's why he's with Ziggy. He's seen potential there to be able to, mess her up like he has Laura. And, but he's still calling Laura to this day right here. He's still trying to control Laura on the side from Ziggy, right? Because he thinks he can do that. He thinks he can do it. And he can as long as Laura allows it. He will be able to, as long as she'll allow it. That's her choice. That's her choice. But I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think that Laura is, I have to agree with Justice for You. I agree with you when, you said that you believe, Laura was Fred's right hand. I agree. Yes. In the case of Cotton, and I think to a certain point in the case of Summer. That's my opinion. I believe, what I personally believe is that Laura and Fred worked together on June 15th, 2021. My personal opinion is after these two women up here, Grandis and Candace, after these two women went and picked up Hunter to do a dirty deed, at the horse pond, and I that's my opinion. You don't have to. Nobody has to agree with me. But from what it's looking like on those milk jugs, what it's looking like is Candace and Grandis. Grandis stayed in the vehicle. Candace went, and Hunter took Summer down to the water. And what it seems like is the camera went off when Hunter went into the water. And when Summer came out of the water, I think she was being carried. And I think she was carried back to the vehicle. And I don't think she was with us anymore. That's just my opinion. And I think it was all planned. I think that Don, Don Wells and Candace and Grant, I think it was all planned. I think it was planned out to split it all up. And I think what they did is they had Hunter, do one part of it, which that was at the horse pond, right? And then they went, and now since Hunter did the first part, that got Allison involved. And that's when they got to Allison's house. You heard Allison say they dropped Summer off there. And I believe they did to get put in this out, to get cleaned up and put into this outfit and back into the vehicle. That's what I think. I think that Hunter and Allison took care of the first part because of Candace and Grandis and Donald. Then I think that it went to a second part. In my opinion, it went to a second part. And in the second part, I believe that, Jody Sue makes up this scream, right? She makes up a scream. That, that wasn't, there's no way, because what people don't understand is the scream that they were working with Jody Sue too. The scream couldn't have happened. It couldn't have been Summer at 4:30, 4:42. It couldn't have been Summer. And Candace, and if Jody Sue really heard a scream, then Candace couldn't have asked Jody Sue to move the scream, right? I mean, say for instance, me and Kim's in the chat right there. Me and Kim, or me and Bucket List, me and Justice for You. I mean, if we, we're neighbors, we were neighbors, and I heard a scream, or they heard a scream at 4:30, 4:42, and then all of a sudden one of our children is missing. Here's the thing. How could Justice for You ask me to change the time of that scream to 5:30, 5:40 something? How could she ask me to change the time of the scream if I'm the one that heard it? How could I ask her to change the time of the scream unless we were working together? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel that if I'm able to ask her, or she was able to ask me, that we would have to be working together. Yes, we would. We would. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Candace asked Jody Sue to move the scream. She can't ask the woman to move the damn scream if the scream was real. Right? Absolutely. So, she was brought in on it. Why was she brought in on it? Why was she brought in on it? I'll tell you why. Because there was some sinister shit going on over at that hill. And when Jody Sue said, go ask Andy what he was giving Candace to sedate those children, not just Summer, but other little girls too, I think she was telling the damn truth. Put a 2 in the chat if you feel she was telling the truth, because I really think she was. I truly believe she was. And I think that's exactly why, I think that's exactly why Summer had to disappear. I think something went wrong. Just like when Summer was 3 years old, they took her to Allison and them, and she was crying and ODing, right? And ODing. And they didn't call the squad. They didn't call nobody. They just we got to see if she's going to make it or not. Well, if she didn't, they'd had to cover it up. They would have had to cover it up because now they're accomplices to it. And if they go to tell, they're going to jail too, because it was at their home. They could have called 911 and they didn't do it. They failed to seek help for a child so they are as much a problem as the one who brought the child there, right? And as much as they're as much in trouble right now. So they would have covered it up. Well, that's the kind of evil people Don and Candace were associating with, right? And I believe that, what was going on in that hill. I truly believe that what was going on that hill was some sinister things, to do with some sinister stuff with children. And I believe that something went down that they couldn't fix. They couldn't fix it. They couldn't go to the hospital or they'd be arrested, as I've always been saying. They couldn't go to a hospital. And I truly believe that they set it up to where they implicated Fred and Lora. They first got Hunter involved. They first got Hunter and Allison involved. And then it went to, basically getting Jody Sue. I think Jody Sue was in on it the night before, if you ask me. I believe that she was in on it the night before. When they went looking for Mr. Dobbs, Donald Dunn fired his co-worker to blame the disappearance on, right? Don Wells had already started driving the other vehicle, so, because it had Starlink and an alibi, and his phone's an alibi, and his co-workers, this motherfucker was hiding for alibis, because he knew what's coming down. And he fired his co-worker to piss him off, to blame it on. I mean, they were already setting it up. And they also, when Dobbs showed up, they went looking for him. I think they might have been thinking of, making him a backup person, right? Instead of Dudley, let's plant something on Dobbs' truck or plant something on Dobbs to, make it look like he did it. I mean, these guys were willing to put an innocent human being in prison, right? An innocent human being. They didn't care to put an innocent human being behind bars for Summer's case. And I think that, they wanted to split it up because once they left, they got, was done with Hunter and Allison doing their part. I think they went back to Ben Hill Road, dropped Granny off, and I think Candace went down to Fred and Lora's. And because Chad Arnold came in and caught Candace down there. And he said that it was too early for Summer to be missing because it was between 3:30 and 4:30, sometime within that hour that he came in and caught Candace at Fred's house, right? And Fred and Lora had just barely left. So I think that Fred and Lora is who they handed Summer off to. That's my opinion. I think that's who Summer was handed off to. And I think they took Summer out of there. And, and then Candace went back to the house, and gaslighted her kids as if Summer had came in. And I think the reason she came back up on the hill with Grandis and Summer is because she did want the boys to come out, pack something into the house and see that Summer was with them. So that the boys would, our sister was, she was here. So when Mom says, I put her in the house and where did she go? They're going to believe it, right? But I think, as soon as the boys got back in the house, watching, playing it and busy again, Candace jumped in that truck, which Summer was still there, and went down to Fred's, got rid of Summer, and and she didn't bank on Chad coming in and catching her. She didn't bank on Chad coming in and catching her there. But But he did, and she said, my daughter's missing. And, and when Chad heard that, Summer wasn't supposed to be missing until 5:55 to 6 o'clock, right? Somewhere between 5:55 and 6:05. He said, wait a minute. I was at Fred's house between 3:30 and 4:30, and I know that's the time because, of this or that or that. And she was there already looking for her daughter. How could she come up missing later when I seen her that early? Right? So who would have took, who would have took Summer out of the vehicle? If she went up on the hill to drop Grandis off and the boys knew Summer's in the vehicle, and then, she disappears so quickly after, she ain't in the vehicle when Chad pulls in between 3:30 and 4:30. She's not in the vehicle. Where did she go? Where did she go? Because Candace didn't go anywhere else. She wouldn't have had time to go nowhere else. She'd had not enough time to be anywhere else. So the only logical explanation is they implicated Fred and Lora as well. And Fred and Laura's part was to get rid of Summer. Now, I think somehow Cotton got into the mix of this. I don't know how Cotton got into the mix of it, but I believe he did. Because you heard Lora herself say Cotton was talking to Fred about Summer. Something about Summer. Then Cotton comes up dead, right? He comes up unalived. Well, common sense tells you Fred must have had something to do with Summer's case, right? Because Cotton isn't here anymore, and that's the last conversation they were having was about Summer's case. Something about, and Fred says, I can't tell you because, I'm going to protect you. Well, what does he not telling you? What is he not telling you? I was thinking that, if they was going to haul cars that day, right? If they was going to haul cars that day to the, scrapyard, they went to the crusher. It doesn't necessarily mean that Fred took that car to the crushers to be crushed. Or maybe he used that car, to take her out of there with. And maybe Cotton was another handoff. Maybe Cotton was another handoff and Lora knew it. And maybe Cotton's the one that actually knew where, he put Summer. And maybe he told Fred where he put Summer. And Fred was protecting Lora because he didn't want Lora to know where Summer's at because she might tell it. And then everybody would be in trouble, right? Everybody would be in trouble. He wasn't not telling Lora to protect Lora. He was not telling Lora to protect himself. And then, he didn't want Cotton getting hayed up and telling someone where Summer's at. So, and then Cotton also had a lot of money and some cigarettes and stuff. It was an all win-win. It would have been an all win-win, right? They got money, cigarettes, and somebody's tongue from waggling. And Lora said that Cotton had become a real problem for Fred. That before Cotton was only coming up there, every other month or something, hanging around. But he started coming almost every other day after Summer came up missing. So that tells me that, something shady because Cotton felt that, they had a bond, some kind of dirty bond that he could be up there all the time now at Fred's house like family. And Fred wasn't going to have it, right? He wasn't going to have it. Um, Candace was on Light Hollow Road between at 3:45. I think that's I don't think that Summer's anywhere near Light Hollow Road. I think that Candace was on Light Hollow Road at 3:45 because she followed Chad Arnold out onto Beach Creek. And I think that's why, she was probably on Light Hollow Road um during during that time. So that and it's a good thing you brought that up, Woofy, because I'll tell you why. Um there you go. There you go. So Chad Arnold was right. If she was seen there at 3:45, then it was you just brought the time a better time because it would have 3:45. Absolutely, because dang, that is a good call right there, because they came in around 3:50, between 3:15, 3:25, went up on the hill, came back down, went down to Fred's. Fred and Laura left out of there around 3:30, and Chad was pretty adamant that he came in between 3:30 and 4:30. So you're right. He would have came in about 5 minutes after Fred and Laura had pulled out of there, and he caught Candace. So he would have caught her probably around. Fred and Laura had to leave out of there then at about 3:30, and Chad Arnold would have had to came in there around 3:35. Yeah, about 3:35, about 5 minutes after Laura and them had left out, and caught Candace there. And then Candace did come down, and she went out onto Beach Creek because the on trail cam on the corner where you're going out to Beach Creek, a neighbor there, that trail cam caught her. That's how they knew she came out um, earlier, and told her she did. So yeah, that would make very much sense, because that could put her on Light Hollow Road at that particular time. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So you're just making my theory even more stabilized. That's all you're doing. Wow. And better time fitting as well. Mhm. Oh, it is making sense. It is making sense. Yeah, absolutely. That's why he caught her down there, because the time frame was so close to each other. I mean, it was like in a 15-minute span. Yeah, exactly. Wow. That makes that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you being in here, girl. I really do. God bless. God bless. I told you, God gives you the answers. He'll send it. I mean, you know, I always when I look at this, a lot of times I'm busy. I'm busy running the content up here on the screen, and when I'm running the content on the screen, I have to watch the screen a lot, so I'm not able to watch the chat and read chat as much as I'd like to. I try to read as much as I can, but when I get busy on the screen up here, as a creator, you're going to miss a lot of comments as they go by. And, I always thought that, well, God will let me be able to see what I need to. If I look up, He'll if it's important, He'll let me, he- the chat will catch my eye. That's how I believe. That this chat will catch my eye if there's something God wants me to see. And, and I always believe that. And Woofy caught my attention. You know, when the one lady was questioning God, I looked up and it caught my attention. You know, so I stopped a minute because I think it's important, you know, to explain to people why you don't question God, and you know, or be angry at God for anything. God doesn't cause nothing, you know. It's humans. The problem is humans. We got to always remember there's evil in this world, you know, and we ought to always fight to make the right choices, because if we make the wrong choices, that's when you let the devil in, right? That's when you let the devil in. So we always got to make the right choices, but still, a lot of bad things happen to good people. A lot of bad things, you know, you don't have to be bad for bad things to happen to you. A lot of bad things happen to good people because of evil people's choices. And God don't control that. He doesn't control that. You know? It's just how it is. You know, we wished it wasn't, but it is. We can't blame God. Absolutely. But anyhow, you know, I'm glad that caught my attention because that gives me a better time frame now. It gives me a better time frame, a better understanding of how quick this did happen. You know, that's why Candace was shocked at Chad Cotter, right? Because it was, hell, I mean, I bet she was breaking a sweat. I bet she was breaking a sweat that Fred and Laura actually got away before he came in, right? Because it could have been all bad. It could have been another person in the know. That, and it's a good thing that Chad ain't in the know, because his life could be at risk too, right? Like Cotton, his life could be at risk too. I think they basically broke this down. I think they broke it down between different people. So like Allison and Hunter and them wouldn't know. You know, they know what happened at the beginning. They don't know what happened at the end, right? And the people at the end really don't know what happened in the beginning, you know? So none of them really know the full story. The only ones that know the full story is Dawn, Candace, and Grandis, because they're the ones that pre-planned it, right? Pre-planned it, carried it out, and, you know, on June 15th, 2021. That's my opinion. That's what I think, you know. That's what I think, and it's possibly what law enforcement thinks too, because they said no abduction, no signs of abduction, and the other sheriff came out and said, with all that deep dive searching and all the extra stuff we did, they don't think she wandered off either, and especially with mom and dad, you know, constantly saying it, they're like, she didn't wander off. You know, they can't tell us where she isn't unless they knew where she was. And that's why they kept telling us where she ain't, because they did know where she was. And yeah, we did waste our time and a lot of money searching like that, you know. So they pretty much, you know, law enforcement, you know, they know. They know. I love you, PG. Hey, Trish, I appreciate that. God bless. God bless. I appreciate it, girl. I really do. I appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. Absolutely. God bless. Oh, I appreciate that. Our bucket list has holes. My mods are awesome. They are awesome. And I appreciate you throwing that up. Thank you so much for supporting Summer's channel for us. Um, absolutely. Aw, Justice for you, so thank you. Absolutely. Brat, I appreciate it, girl. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting Summer's channel. It's much appreciated. It is. That it is. God bless. Um, but yes, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I mean, let's see how many people in here agree that this is possibly what happened. If you believe that this is how it's looking, if you agree this is how it's looking, that one part of it was done and put Summer on the milk jugs, and then the second part was done, you know, when Chad caught Candace at Fred's house, no Summer, and Laura and them just pulled out. If you believe that that they took her out of there, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you believe this is very much what seems to have happened. In my opinion, it is. That's my opinion. You know, just saying. And I think that's why Fred is trying to separate himself. He's trying to separate himself from the scrapyard that day. He's trying to separate himself from, from everything. Now he's lying. Now he's lying and changing up his story. And I think it's because he knows. He knows the truth is on his back, right? He knows the truth is being called out and it's on his back. And he's trying to separate himself from it. That's what I believe. And I believe possibly Cotton was, online, not for his money and his smokes. But I think that was an extra bonus. But I think the real reason that Cotton was online is because, he was becoming a bugaboo. He was becoming a bugaboo because of what he knew about Summer's case that he was discussing with Fred. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe that is why Cotton has came up unalived. That's what I believe. And the reason I believe it is because Laura pretty much said it. That's why I believe it. Laura told me, and I have it on recording, where she told me that that Cotton was becoming a problem for Fred. Coming around too much, becoming a problem for Fred. That's what she told me. And you just heard her. You just heard her, say, that Fred, I mean, this is exactly how it seemed to go down, right there in front of your eyes, at the swimming pond. It put her on the milk jug. She comes back. Candace gets busted down at Fred's house. Fred just pulled out. There's no Summer. Makes sense to me, y'all. Makes perfect sense to me. Jody Sue's brought in because, she's in the know of what the problem is to begin with. She probably knew the night before when they was out looking for Dobbs to possibly plant something on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Well, yeah, absolutely, Miss Justice. But not only that, no one's holding the whole story. What I'm saying is no one is holding the whole story but them, right? Nobody. What I'm saying is they divided up her case. They divided up everything amongst these people in order to not let no one person be able to go in and tell the full story. Hunter can't go in and tell the full story because he don't know what happened after, they left with Summer in the back seat. Fred can't tell the whole story because he wasn't there at the beginning, right? None of them can tell the whole story because they weren't there. It got all jumbled up. And you got actually I gotta give Don and Candace and Grandis some props on this one because you'd have to be a real criminal minded motherfucker to think to do all of this. Not that, I ain't heard of it before. I've heard of people doing this kind of stuff before, right? Splitting things up, splitting things up so that no one person knows about everything. I mean, it's done. It's done. In different situations. You know, with money, with drugs, with unliving people. It's done. It ain't the first time I've heard of it. But I just wouldn't expect them morons, you know, to be that intelligent. That's what I'm saying. That's, yeah, it sure sounded like the truth, honey. It sure is. Absolutely. You know, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I gotta give him some props there. Even though I ain't wanting to, but I got to. You know, that was kind of genius. To be honest, for for them, seeing that they ain't that intelligent, you know. But it makes all sense. It makes all sense because you heard
Oh, wow.
you heard Laura right here. Summer's case. Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not?
Fred come in and said something that he told him something about Summer, but he didn't tell me the details. He said I didn't need to know because I didn't need to be in the middle of it.
Oh Lord. Wow. And do you know if law
But
enforcement
he's protecting me.
do you know if law enforcement really gave him a lie detector's test about Cotton's about whether he had anything to do with Cotton's death or not?
I think they did. Because I think they thought that Fred done it.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of agreeing with law enforcement right now. Right? I'm agreeing with law enforcement right now. I think he might have done it too. It's not funny, but you know, I believe it. I believe it. And and another thing that makes me feel that Fred was in the know with all of this beforehand is um because Laura was talking about, you know, her daughter getting in some trouble with child protective services. And she said that, that they took samples, hair samples of the kids and everything. And you know that Fred said the only time Don came around was when Don wanted advice, you know, how to do things criminally and get away with it, right? That's what Fred says. He says it all the time. We all know this. Now, I have the recording of Laura saying this. If you'd like to hear it, put a one in the chat. I have it. I got it right here, right now. I got the proof. I got the proof that that she says that these kids had to have their hair, checked and all of this stuff, you know. And, I think that could have been, I think it could have been, I think Fred could have had all to do with Summer, you know, getting her hair cut off. I don't necessarily think, it was about drugs because they could take fingernail clippings and blood and other ways to get that taken care of. I think her hair was cut for a different reason, right? For a different reason. I think her hair may have been cut, for identification purposes, right? Um, kind of, um, for other reasons.
She actually went and finished to be a nurse. She really wanted to do that, but they took her kids from her. The state did,
Right.
and it was because of it was an accident. It was truly an accident. The little girl tried to get the baby out of the walker and fell.
Right.
And when she fell, it broke that little baby's arm.
Mm.
And if she hadn't had it on baby monitors,
Right.
she probably would have never got her kids back.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And no, because what the court, even if you had that, the court's going to say, you're still, they still going to take the kids because you are neglecting to watch. You're neglecting to watch the younger child around the other one. Your failure to take care of your children has resulted in this accident. That's why the child was taken. It's it's horrible.
It still took her a year to get them back. I swear, she said, Mom, she said that if I hadn't been for that, I would have lost my kids forever.
Right.
Because the social worker pretty much looked at her and told her she wasn't nothing but a worthless piece of shit. To try to get out of line and try to get out of that, hurting that baby. I mean, one thought, so Destiny went to jail.
What?
Anything. Yeah, she threatened to stomp that woman's ass and everything else, I reckon.
Oh my gosh.
But she talked to Destiny very, very unnecessarily. Since they're been on all kinds of drugs, they done every drug test imaginable. And hair test, done blood test, and then wanted to test them for hair, test their hair.
Wanted to test their hair. She's talking about the children. And they wanted to test their hair. They just kept wanting to test their hair. I think that is what got Summer's hair cut off. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe that this could have possibly had all to do with Summer's hair being cut off. Fred and Lora talking to Dom Wells. I think it did. Somehow I just feel it did. I do. I actually believe that. I don't know why I believe it. It's something in my gut. And I'm going to tell you, when I go with my gut, I'm usually right. It's when I go with my head, I'm fucking wrong. Right? And I've had that gut feeling. The second that she told me about this, I had this gut feeling that had all to do with why Summer's hair was cut off. It like immediately came to me. And I was like, why am I feeling this? I just did really strong. And I can't explain why. But when your gut feels like that, you better go with it. But yeah, and this implicates them in Summer's case even more, right? Even more. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe that Summer's case is isolated to Don, Candace, and Grandis. I think Summer's case has got a group of people who work together to get this done. That's just my opinion. And do I believe the church had anything to do with Summer Moon Utah Wells disappearing? No, absolutely not. I do not believe that. What I believe is Robin, at the church, what I believe is she has been, so close to the Wells and so close to Summer's case and everything. I think that Summer's birthday, the night they had that thing, and she said, Summer, there's brownies in the basement, cupcakes and brownies in the basement if you like some. Summer doesn't need any brownies and cupcakes. I think the night she said, Summer don't need any brownies or cupcakes, but but we thank God we got them. And if anybody wants some, go have them. I think that Robin was just fed up with the way Don and Candace had been producing themselves this whole time with their missing daughter's case. And I think, Robin just let it out that she thinks Summer is no longer with us. I think she would, in her own way, I think that was her way of saying where Summer is, she ain't going to need, she don't need cupcakes and brownies. I think it was just her way of letting everyone know that she's been in it long enough that she knows Summer's not with us as well. That's my opinion. Robin's ex has same name as Whiteboard and lives in the same area. Do you mean White Boy? Renee, are you talking about White Boy? Wow. But yeah, that's my opinion. And Fred lies a lot right here. Hey, when you guys hauled the car off and was late getting there, did you guys bring car back? No, we made it on time. Talking about going to the scrapyard. June 15th, 2021. This is Lora. This is Lora. This is the question she was asked. And her answer was no, made it on time. That's Lora answering someone when they asked the question. So Lora, Laura's adamant and always has been adamant and still is adamant that they went to the scrapyard on June 15, 2021. Fred is lying. Fred's trying to separate himself from all of it. I think Fred is scared. Just saying. I think he's scared. I think the truth is on his back and he doesn't like it. Oh, I appreciate that, Tracy. I really do. God bless. God bless. I can't pass up kind words said about me. I don't get those very often, so I'm going to pop them up. Right? Light Hollow Road is like super close. Light Hollow Road is just like, I say, it depends on how fast you're going, but I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes. It ain't far. It ain't far. It's not far. I mean, it shouldn't take you no time. Shouldn't take you no time. I mean, Cotton lives about Cotton, if you go out Beach Creek, you go down, then you turn into the road that Cotton lives on. Because if Cotton comes out, he goes past the Wells house to go around to, if you go around to go to, well, he could go in the back way from his road to Lora Run. But if you come out and go around, you passed Ben Hill Road to go around to get to Little Run Park. So, you'd have to go past there. You can come out and go right past. I mean, if you come out Cotton's Road, you go right down Beach Creek and turn right into Ben Hill. It's like probably about 10 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. If you're going fast, quicker than that. It's a straight shot, right? I'm not sure, Reese. I'm not sure the name of the road that Cotton lives on. I have his address. I've got his address, but I can't remember the name of that road right there. It's got a church down there where he lives. There's an old church down there. There's a cemetery. There's a cemetery there too. Yeah. And there's I believe like a double home where he lives there too. Like a double home. That Surfing Junior or Surfing Guy, that was his name. I don't know. Yeah, because you come out on Beach Creek, you can go right around to Lora Run. I think it's probably it might take a little more than 5 minutes to get around to Lora Run from Beach Creek. It might take a little more than 5 minutes. Oh, you're talking about Don Sherfy? You're talking about Don Sherfy Jr.? He's in jail right now. He's in jail. I'm not sure when he got some a lot of time for some stuff on his computer. He didn't. Don Sherfy Jr. did not. He lived with his dad, and they don't live close to Beach Creek. They don't live close to Beach Creek. They got their houses up like back in. You got to go through like this foliage to get back to their house. Over there on their road. But it's away from Beach Creek. They don't live. Sherfy was dating Domwell's stepdad's niece. Domwell's stepdad, old Mr. Goad, his sister's daughter was dating Don Sherfy Jr. or Senior. Don Sherfy Sr. Don Sherfy Jr. lived with his dad. Don Sherfy Jr. has only been in Beach Creek like once or twice. Once to help his dad deliver a recliner at the girlfriend's house, which was like the Christmas of it was in the winter time. It was right before Christmas of 2020. It was 2020. The Christmas of 2020. They delivered the recliner. And then he had been in there one time before that with his dad. I don't know, I think they were going out to dinner. Sheriffy, the wife and the son. But other than that, he wasn't ever in Beach Creek at all. I talked with Sheriffy, Don Sheriffy Jr. or Senior. I didn't talk with Junior. I talked to Senior, and he was a sheriff. He worked at the sheriff's. He was one of the jailer people. He worked for the law enforcement there, and it got to be much for him. It got to be a little much for him, and he got a trucking job. He went into trucking. His girlfriend actually works at the sheriff's department as well. Don's stepdad's niece works at the sheriff's department. She lives right around the corner on Fields Road there from the Wells. It's really right over from the Wells property. Yeah, he's a guard in there. He watches, he's a jailer. He watches the jail cells as they, open, come in and out, so forth and so on. Jailer warned us about him, the older guy. And Don Sheriffy Jr. or Senior, I mean. JLR warned you about Don Sheriffy Sr.? I don't mean to laugh, but Don Sheriffy Sr. the guy's a big teddy bear. I don't know what you would be warned about. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what you'd be warned about. He can get hateful, which I would trying to see if he will talk to us. I talk to him all the time. I talk to Don Sheriffy Sr. He's a really nice guy. I love the guy. I don't have no problems with him. He ain't mean to me. He's not mean to me. I don't know. He's a really nice guy. I don't know what the warning would be about, but he's a real nice guy. He just don't want to be out here, He don't want to be out here in this YouTube world. He don't want to be part of, all of this, because all of this has nothing to do with him. He had nothing to do with, Summer Moon Utah Wells. They checked him out. They checked his where he was on June 15, 2021, and he was clean out of town. He wasn't nowhere. He wasn't even in Tennessee. He's done been cleared. And his son was at work as well, and they verified that. They verified where his son was, and he wasn't nowhere near Ben Hill Road, June 15, 2021 as well. So their family has nothing to do with Summer's disappearance at all. So I don't know. And he's a really nice guy. And when his son got in trouble, I know firsthand that he told his son, whatever they give you, you deserve. He said, I will not try to pull no strings for you. I will not try to do anything for you. You did the crime, you will pay the time. And whatever they throw at you, well, it's your, you made bad choices and you got to pay for them. And that's what he told his son. He did not care. He let the boy take his medicine because, he's a full believer, and you just don't do evil things like that. I mean, he was in law enforcement. He upholds the law, And like he told his son, I don't know how you could do this with me, with me being in law enforcement, upholding the law. You knew that we don't break the law. You disrespected me as well. You should have been different. So, I personally like the guy. I haven't had no problems with him. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what happened between him and JLR. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. They were making Miss Goad's Mr. Goad's sister was real sick. His girlfriend's mother was real sick. She lives right around the corner. And all the YouTubers were at the bottom of the Wells property, screaming um that freaking bullhorn Betty. Well, they were screaming in the bullhorn, and they were making a lot of noise, and it was making this old lady who was sick real nervous. She was getting real nervous. She didn't know what was going on. She was getting afraid. And he went down there to ask them to stop it because of her health. And an altercation between everybody started, and everybody started disliking him. That's what that was over. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's yeah, that's true. That did happen, didn't it? I don't know. But I talked to him, and um I tell you, he's a nice guy. I don't know if he just don't want to be out here, and I don't blame him. When I talk to him, he tells me, uh, you know, don't record me. Don't record me, sissy, because, and don't play it out. Whatever we talk about, don't play it out. And I tell him I won't. And I don't. Just like Don Wells. Don Wells has, asked me, don't be playing no recordings out, sissy. This is, off record. I'll talk to you, but it's off record. And I say, yes. Okay, I'm not going to. And I don't play him and Candace out here. I don't play it out because I was asked not to. When I'm asked not to play something out, I don't do it. I don't even care if it's with Don Wells. I don't care if it's with Shurfy. I don't care who it's with. If they don't want to be heard out here in this YouTube community, this world, you know, now if it's something important, I don't play it out here. I turn it over to TBI. I turn it over to law enforcement. The feds, TBI. I turn it over. I send it to them. I play it to them. I don't, I don't put it out here. If it's important, if it's just chit chat, freaking nothing, you know, um, or some gaslighting stuff when it comes to Don Wells, just some gaslighting bullshit, you know, I'm not going to bother law enforcement with that. But if it's important, I do turn it in because, Summer needs that. She needs every bit of information, you know, vital information turned in so she can be found, so someone can be paying for what the evil deeds they done to a child. That there's some stuff that, yes, absolutely, it has to be turned in. And I do turn it in. I'm not going to lie about that. Yeah, I'll speak to text. I'm going to tell you. Um, it's not, I don't know what kind, of, exactly, what kind of blunt English you have to talk to get, speak to text to write everything correctly. But I don't speak that. Right? I don't speak it. Don't think I'll ever learn. Right? Yeah, I'd rather just type it. I would rather just type it in than I don't really use the speak stuff because like you said, it doesn't put in it doesn't put in capitals, it doesn't, you got to fix it all anyway, so you might as well just write it, right? That's true. English Mama PG. Right? Oh shit. I wonder if it has settings. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't sure what kind of language PG speaks. It's sure the fucking English, right? It ain't English. I don't know what you call it. I think it's a little bit of everything all mixed up. But anyway, um, I have more. I have more that I'd like to cover tonight. Um, but I'm not going to get to it because I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. We've been here almost 3 hours, you guys. And it's the holidays. The holidays is upon us, right? So we need to get our rest so we can be prepared and ready for all the stuff, coming in our future, our very near future for the holidays. So I'm going to let everybody get off of here. I'm going to let you all you know, get yourselves rested up. Tomorrow's a big day. Wednesday is Christmas, you guys. Wednesday is Christmas. It's coming upon us quick. And, with the weekend's come. Thank God it is Friday tomorrow, right? Thank God it is Friday. So you guys want to I know everybody wants to get last minute shopping out of the way this weekend. Everybody's going to be doing a lot of things. Probably got company coming in, picking up gifts, dropping gifts off. A lot going on. Lots going to start going on this weekend, all the way up until after Wednesday. So, you know what? I'm going to get off of here, let you guys get your cookies baked, the rest of your things taken care of. And I will not be seeing you tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Friday. It's the 7th. I observed the 7th. So, God willing, we'll be back here Saturday, right? We'll be back here Saturday and we'll be picking up where we left off, right? We'll be picking up where we left off. And we're going to find the answers. We're going to find the answers. We're going to do what we can. But justice for you, we'll keep your husband in our prayers, honey. I did not forget. We will be saying prayers for him, keeping him going up for a safe surgery and a safe and very, very quick recovery. That's what we will be praying for. God bless and much love. Listen, everybody, I don't leave here until I ask you, please, please, please pray for little Summer. Please keep those prayers going up. As I said, I do not know why God has not let us find her yet, but we will keep praying. We will keep praying, and I'm sure God will answer at some point. Summer will be found, you guys. She will be found, and God Almighty will let justice be served. We will know where Summer is. Trust and believe me, we will know everything. At some point, we will know it all. So keep those prayers going up and praying to the Lord that she is found, she is brought home, and justice is served in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And keep them going up for little Michael Vaughn and Sebastian Rogers. You know, there's cases that have lasted a lot longer than this. People praying a lot longer than this. And God answered, right? He answered. He let us know the truth, and justice got served. So let us keep praying, because we're going to learn the truth as well. Let us keep praying, you guys, and pray for one another. Pray for one another. A lot of prayers being needed. A lot of prayers being needed this day and time. So let us be the ones praying for one another in the name of Jesus. Amen. Keep those prayers going up, you guys. And know PG is always praying for you. I don't know what you want. Don't know what you need, but I know God does. And I do pray in the name of Jesus Christ that He answers up all of our prayers in the name of His Son. Amen. That's how fast you can pray for people. I just prayed for you. If you get time, please pray for Summer above everything. But if you get time, say a prayer for me and mine as well. Good night, everybody. God bless. Much love.